Sana always believed in love, the kind of love that could move mountains, heal wounds, and last forever. She was the type of girl who wore her heart on her sleeve, trusted too easily, and gave without limits. When she met Ion, her world finally made sense. He wasn't just handsome, he was kind, soft-spoken, and had eyes that held 1,000 unspoken promises. Sana was drawn to him like a moth to light. They met at university. Ayan was studying architecture. Sana was in literature. Their worlds were different, but their hearts beat in the same rhythm from the first conversation. Ayan would walk her to class, surprise her with her favorite tea, and send poems late at night. Sana had never felt this. Seeing this loved, she began imagining everything with him. A home filled with laughter, late-night talks, children who had his smile. She even changed her dreams for him. When she wanted to go abroad for her writing fellowship, she let it go because Ian said he couldn't imagine long distance. "I'll marry you the moment we graduate," he promised, holding her hands under the winter stars. And Sana smiled, because she thought he meant it. After graduation, Sana was ready. Her family was ready. Her heart was ready, but Ayan wasn't. "There's too much pressure right now," he said one day, avoiding her eyes. "I haven't found a stable job yet." Sana understood. Of course he did. She offered him time. She offered him patience, but months turned into a year. And slowly, Ayan started changing. His messages became shorter, his voice less warm. He stopped asking how her day was. He stopped remembering small things like how she liked her tea without sugar or how rainy days made her anxious. Sana noticed everything, but she didn't say anything. She told herself relationships go through phases. That maybe he was stressed. One evening, she dressed up in the red dress he once said made her look like poetry. She cooked his favorite meal, lit candles, played their song, but when Ian arrived, he didn't even notice. He ate in silence, said he was tired, then left early saying, "There's a client meeting tomorrow." Sana sat at the table long after he left, her hands trembling slightly as she blew out the candles one by one. She didn't cry. Not yet, because she still believed love could fix things, but the silence was growing louder. And in that silence, her heart began to whisper, "Something's wrong." Winter came again, cold, sharp, and honest. Sana was scrolling through Instagram late at night when her heart skipped a beat. Ion had been tagged in a photo. A cozy cafe. 2 cups of coffee. A girl's hand reaching across the table, fingers barely touching his. The caption read, "Some connections don't need labels." Sana's throat dried. Her fingers trembled as she clicked the profile. Her name was HIB. Same university. Same city. Dozens of pictures, smiling, laughing. Ayan, more of them than Sana could count. She sat there, frozen, eyes burning. A part of her wanted to scream. Another part wanted to believe it was innocent. She picked up the phone and called him. He answered after the 3rd ring, sounding annoyed. "Yeah?" "Ion," her voice cracked. "Who is Hiba?" Silence. Then a sigh. "She's just a friend. Why are you acting like this?" Sana swallowed her pain. "I saw the pictures. You're overthinking. This is why I don't share everything. With you, you always assume the worst." Her tears fell without permission. "I've never asked for anything, Ion. I gave you everything." "That's the problem," he snapped. "You gave too much. I need space. I can't breathe." And just like that, he hung up. Sana stared at the dark screen, heart splitting in two. She sat in the silence of the night, realizing something worse than betrayal. She wasn't even worth a goodbye. Sana didn't block Ayan. She didn't delete his number. She didn't throw away the gifts or burn the letters. She simply disappeared from his world. No texts, no updates, no late night "I miss you" messages. And yet, she checked his profile every few days. She watched him smile in photos, watched him love someone else, openly, proudly, the way she always prayed he'd love her. But Ion? He never came looking, never asked if she was okay. Never once said sorry. The last bit of hope Sana had quiet and fragile broke the day Hiba posted a video, Ion surprising her with a gold bracelet. The caption read, "When love chooses you, it never lets go." Sana stared at the screen. A silent tear rolled down her cheek, not because he moved on, but because he made her feel like she was the mistake, the extra chapter, the one he had to get past. The goodbye never came. And that was the cruelest part. Not the lies. Not even the betrayal, but that after everything, she didn't even deserve a proper end. Just silence. Just absence. Just nothing. Santa sat across from her reflection. Dark circles. Pale skin. Silent eyes. She barely recognized herself, but something inside her had changed. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, like a soft whisper after a long storm. She opened her journal and began to write again. Not about Ion. Not about heartbreak, but about herself. I am not what he left behind. I am what rises after being broken. She started going for walks in the early morning, wrapped in a shawl. Alone but free, she smiled at strangers. She listened to the wind. She whispered to the sky, I'm still here. And slowly, life responded. One afternoon, her cousin invited her to a small poetry gathering. Sana hadn't spoken in front of people in years, but something in her said, go. So she did. When it was her turn, she stepped up, heart pounding. She read her piece, the one she had written during her darkest night. The room fell silent. People listened. Some even cried, and for the first time in forever, Sana felt seen, not as someone's ex. Not as a girl who was forgotten, but as a voice, a soul, a woman with depth. After the event, a stranger approached her, a young woman with soft eyes. She whispered, thank you for saying what I couldn't. Sana smiled. Her eyes wet but glowing. She had spent so long waiting to be loved. Now, she was learning how to love herself with every scar, every story. Every silent ache. A YAN was becoming a memory. And Sana was becoming herself again. It had been almost a year. Sana was in a bookstore when her phone buzzed. A name she hadn't seen in months lit up the screen. AYAN. Her fingers froze. Her heart didn't. She didn't answer. An hour later, another message. Sana, I don't know if I deserve to say this, but I think about you every day. The old Sana would have replied in seconds, but the woman she'd become? She sat quietly, letting the message echo in her silence. That night he called. This time she picked up. Hello? She said, calm and distant. There was a pause. Sana, I miss you. She didn't speak. She waited. I made a mistake, he continued. Heba left. It didn't work, and I realized I was wrong about everything. You were always the, one. Sana blinked. Not a single tear. Not even anger. Just a strange emptiness. You broke me, she said softly. You loved me when it was convenient, and when it got hard. You chose someone else, he stammered. I was confused. I thought, no, she interrupted. You were clear. I just refused to see it. The silence between them felt final. Sana, I want to try again. She smiled, a sad, gentle smile he couldn't see. You came back because she left you. Not because you missed me. Sana, I found myself when you lost me, she whispered, and I won't lose her again. Then, without waiting for his reply, she ended the call. And this time it was her who walked away. The days that followed felt peaceful, not because she had finally gotten closure, but because she realized she didn't need it. Sana no longer looked for him in crowds. She no longer wondered if he was okay. She no longer whispered his name in her prayers. She had stopped bleeding for someone who never even brought a bandage. One morning, she stood by her window, sunlight warming her skin, birds singing a song of new beginnings. She whispered to herself, you survived. You waited for him, but in the end, you rescued you. She applied for a writing program in another city. Got accepted. Packed her bags. The day she left, she didn't look back. She stepped into her new apartment, tiny, quiet, beautiful. There was no one waiting for her. No one texting her goodnight. No one calling her mine. And yet, she was no longer lonely. She filled the silence with music. With books, with her own laughter. One evening, she read her poem on stage again, this time at a larger event. When she finished, the audience stood up. Not just for her words, but for her strength. And in that moment, she smiled genuinely, fully. A love story had ended, but a life story had begun. Not all endings come with revenge. Not all heartbreaks need fixing. Sometimes the most powerful thing a woman can do is walk away quietly and start loving the one person who stayed through it all. Herself.